Good morning. Um, the, these are, in my perspective, some of the most important experiences of what it means to have a journey led in spirit, living spirit and living light, running a powerful drive motor. So I have a beautiful soul that's a friend of mine in Thailand, Kanjoy. And I've been with her in my messenger window. She's a friend of mine on Facebook, and so we have feedback, right? I share stuff, she shares stuff back. I share stuff with her, she shares stuff back. So that's feedback, right? We're learning through each other. I'm learning through her what she's experienced in her mirror, then she's learning through me what I've experienced in my mirror. So magnets are mirrors, magnets are drive motors. So I realized, because she's opened up, that she said to me this morning she's been closed up. That's a closed loop. As a result of what? Apex male predators. So if you want to say that's the X side, that's the vampire side, now you begin to understand as a polarity integrator, okay, which is what I've always referred to metaphorically, euphemistically, as energies that decided to join forces to become one with all creation that we give love to in our mirror. So essentially what that means is, I mentioned before when I had a full phosphorus ignition, when I said I'm done with this, unplug the AV jacks, which is the avatar of the audio video, right? I'm going to light myself on fire. So how do I do that? Phosphorus. That's otherwise known as the orgasm of the universe, or the orgasm upon which the seed side, right? Seed codes and the magnetic codes go bang, light yourself on fire. Now you go from the tip of the toes all the way to the skull, and it's like your skull cap is going to obliterate into a gazillion pieces, because that's how much thermal energy you're burning through all your circuits on a multi-dimensional, multi-density level to go back to being one with all creation. Right? And that's a polarity integrator. That means I was burning off all the crap that I had been stored in memory as a result of the transmutation work that you do on a spiritual battlefield. A spiritual battlefield. So you know that my spirit is what leads me, which is in the light. So you realize I call them intersections. So you know what a four-way is. That's a cross, right? Two lines, 1D, 2D. So the center point of that cross is the center point of all creation when you're experiencing eternal unconditional love through your own heart, which is the energy that is represented by what I am that is in my mirror, which means you're in love with your mirror. You're on fire in your mirror. That's a powerful star. That means that center point is balanced between the four square crystal tetrahedron. So your crystal radio set. So you have an enormous amount of fire to burn off all the goo codes that do not represent the proper goo codes. Right? So now you're back to the 12 and 12, the 144,000 frequencies, because you know what a band is, right? Band-aids. So you have a relationship with spirits. You live in a spiritual world. Yes, of course. So that includes not only all the elementals, but all the other temples that living spirits are there with you. So you have a spiritual team. But with me, it's like I live in a spiritual universe. So that means that everything that is alive and living in nature that is in spiritual form, which is an energy form, is a relative. So we have a shared relationship with each other to maintain the peace, the balance, the love, the harmony, and the rhythm of the waves, so that we're in a state of peace with our music. We love the music of the first sound musician. So you know there's spirit in music. So spirit loves to dance to music. Spirit will move you, which is the energy that's in motion. Energy in motion, like emotion, like a motor that is in motion. So I was sharing with Conjoy a few minutes ago that it's not a coincidence that you and I met. So I mentioned to her, I have spirit guides, okay? So I've got a pretty good idea on who hooked us up, which is called an intersection. You were directed through your heart and soul so that my heart and soul, we would find each other. Because it's no coincidence that we met when we met, and look at the relationship that we developed as friends, right? So it's sort of like one spirit that knows that another spirit and a soul has suffered an enormous amount of predatory control, psychopath, right? And she has, okay, as many people that I've met throughout my entire life book, particularly females. So when you understand how much healing actually has to take place on the male side of this is enormous. And that's one of the important reasons why throughout my life I've spent most of my energy on healing the higher octave of the goddess side of the cosmos, which would be Gaia. That's what was my mission coming in here, was to get her up, get her up. Come on, baby, let's get it up. Get her up out of negative magnetic space, girl. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. That's an enormous amount of light that needs to come in here. When I realized as a child the amount of density that we had to cut through to be able to do that. And that much density is made manifest by wars against other races, which is a loss of electrical power, which is a loss, enormous loss of voltage. That means an enormous amount of light has got to come in here to clear all those circuits throughout a planetary software system of everybody that's running a software system here that is connecting and communicating with everybody else that is here in living spirit, right? Connected with your souls that have suffered trauma, which are soul fragments. Altars went dark. See, so now we're back to mirrors, which are magnets, and what we call a black mirror, a black heart, otherwise known as a cold heart, right? Has no love anymore in its mirror, doesn't have any compassion, right? Now it's in what we call vampiric mode because it's aware of itself, but what it's aware of that it's trying to chase up to zero, trying to balance its energy account, and it can't because it's on a psycho pathway instead of a spiritual pathway, which means it's going in the wrong direction, which is going back in time instead of forward so that they have a future. All right. So spirits lead other spirits in order to do what? Get it up, get it up, get it up. So the more beings that we heal, the higher the vibration. You're clearing the circuits, you're clearing the field, and I call it clearing the field, which is raising the state of consciousness in everybody that's here. So they're experiencing more light, which is more love, and clearing those tunnels. I call them tunnels or pipelines. Drill motors. You know what a drill motor is, right? You're boring out a wormhole that's dark. I call them entrance and exit points upon which they come in here to feed. Oh, no, you don't. You burn them out. Burn their holes out. I call those drill motors or tunnel riders. You know, Huna Flash calls them dragon riders, right? Fire-breathing dragons. The breath of a tetrahedron. How powerful is your drive motor? How much fire are you running on? A blast furnace. When you're androgynous and your energies have been mated, which is like a mated chip, that means that both the male and the female side are on fire with each other, to be with each other, which means the male side never wants to be separated from the flower because the seed is consumed by the essence of that flower, which is the essence of the spirit, which is the power of that spirit. So you love to be around powerful spirits, which are powerful guides, because they have powerful energy that they use to communicate with you how much they love you. So love is the teacher, because that's powerful energy, which is powerful spirit with a powerful oversoul, right? So when you're experiencing a teacher that's got that much power with that much spiritual energy, that you're experiencing as a teacher, yeah, that's a high-speed drive motor. I want to go as fast as I can to spin that light, baby. And then that becomes a guardian. You become a guardian naturally because you're bringing a high-speed vortex in wherever you go, right? And they don't like that energy. Oh man, they scat because they live in fear of bad energy because it's got an enormous amount of fire. So if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen, right? So if you want to call that a lake of fire or a super volcano, right, like Yellowstone or on this island, right? So yeah, so these are eternal blessings to be able to do this kind of stuff. You have no idea when she shares this with me how much my heart cries for her. But at the same time, it's a blessing that I can be of service to her. Because that's what it means to be in love and service to others who have suffered as a result of predators, which is vampiric energy that's feeding on the female side of the flower. That's what they do. So you know they're not very powerful. Feeders are not very powerful. They're not energy givers. They're not love and service to others. And that's the rub. They think their perception of power is inverted. They actually believe that by the more energy that they can vampire off others, they can now use against you, and that makes them more powerful. And of course, you see that in any scene between a lightsaber, okay, and a Darth Vader type, right? Yeah, which is more powerful? Which is a more powerful magnet, right? Which is spinning faster? One that's going in one direction or the one that's going in the other direction? So when they zero each other out and you're at 0 ohms, which is the law of least effort, now you're experiencing the center point of a sphere, which is center point of all creation, which is eternal love that's being used to create it with. And that's what do they call it? A no-brainer. Anyway, the sun is up. It's another beautiful day. Aloha to all of you. We love you all. We won this. We won this already. Be good to yourselves.